Hello, I am Mehek, and this is my reflective presentation for the Professional Practice and Employability Module 2020-2021. The main aim of this module is to prep students in their professional practice skills by developing both their personal and online profiles before entering the industry. The module also pushes students to explore and apply specific individual skills and methods to help us create a targeted approach into our chosen fields of practice. So, for the final submission of this module, we were required to have a well considered, edited, and refined professional portfolio of work. Specifically, the submission required three things: a portfolio link, the final piece of work that we produced, and a 15-minute reflective presentation. Due to the coronavirus global pandemic this year and us being locked in because of it, the final submission for the module was made really flexible for our students to help us still produce work in the pandemic that would be easily accessible for us and also help give us a good grade. We had the option of either sticking to the original press and PR submission, or we could create single portfolio submissions like a long form documentary film or a long form photography piece. I personally went with the long form documentary film for my submission and have to say that I'm really grateful that I had the option of choosing my own submission for the module this year. This module was launched in the month of January 2021, and the way that the module is structured is it's designed around the live news days, where we had to produce weekly news, sport, and feature work in a fixed time frame that has both commercial interest and is shot to be of a publishable standard. All the work had to be tailored to our chosen future professional practice and should clearly strengthen our existing portfolios. So, for the live news days, every week, two students, which would change weekly, would work on the picture desk where all the images and stories would either get approved or not, and all the content would get quality checked by this team before any of the stories went up on social media and our blog, the DiffDaff. The social media team was also handled by two students, which would change weekly as well, and they were meant to edit the captions on the images or the videos, along with doing some final cleaning up of the content that was produced before it went up on our course's social media pages, mainly Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. The Picture Desk team every week was responsible on updating our blog, the DiffDaff, and the social media team post that was responsible for the promotion of the blog on all of its pages. The way we would share our work with the Picture Desk and the social media team was via two FTP servers, either CyberDuck or FileZilla. We would gain access to the server via a private connection just for our course with the use of a specific link, username, and password. Both of these servers are extremely user-friendly and we were all very easily able to gain access to them. Some of the examples of the stories produced this year are mentioned here. So, what was it like doing this module during the COVID-19 lockdown? So during this module and just this whole academic year generally, during the coronavirus lockdown, has been a particularly challenging one, especially for us young and new photojournalists. Since most of our stories are very reliant on other people and physically meeting up with our stories' subjects, the lockdown and this module really pushed us to explore on how we could tell these stories of those people without having to actually meet them. We were struggling a bit at the beginning, but then we managed to use a lot of different tools and means to tell our stories. For example, we used things like participatory photography, Zoom calls or Skype calls where we could take videos or screenshots or recordings of who and what we were talking about, and also remote photography apps like the Shutter app, which would help us gain access to our subjects' cameras, and we could easily take their images from our homes while they were sat in their homes. As challenging as this module has been during this year, I think that it has pushed all of us to think outside the box and has really helped us hone our skills in this new digital era that we are entering because of the pandemic. And we have managed to produce stories while still sat at home, taking videos of the snow from our window, trying to produce some work on a daily basis. So, what I did for my final submission of this module was I made a 6-minute, 46-second documentary film called Where Do You Create? This film is based on three young creatives who are based in South Wales. All of them started small businesses during the pandemic only last year, and the film focuses mainly on how they transform their homes and their bedrooms into their literal work studios. Being creatives, none of them have actually been able to gain access to any outside studios or any other work studios other than their own bedrooms this year at all. So for them, it's been a massive adjustment to basically transforming their homes into their workspaces. So that's why in the film we talk about the struggles of what it's like to work from home during a pandemic, and along with that, what it was like to literally transform where they sleep and where they eat into a work studio for them, so where they produce their content. The film also highlights a big contrast between having a work-life balance, since both of those things were essentially for them in the same room for almost a year and a half. This year was a particularly challenging one when it came to shooting stories and filming people, especially when it came to shooting stories indoors and inside people's homes. So one of the biggest criterias and challenges, unfortunately for me in this film, was gaining access to people's homes and them being comfortable about having me in their houses, interacting with them for at least an hour and a half each, getting both the interviews and all the B-roll squared away. While I was trying to find people for this project, I struggled quite a bit. I was constantly contacting different creatives every day on all social media platforms, but a lot of them were very uncomfortable about the idea of having me in their homes for a long period of time and interacting with them face to face. So that was a big struggle that definitely came up because of the pandemic this year for me. Luckily, however, I did manage to find three subjects who were extremely accommodating and very helpful throughout this entire project. They had no issues with me being in their homes, filming the interviews, and filming the B-roll as well. So making this film and just doing this year in the pandemic really has not only been helpful for personal growth, but it's also been a big booster in the way of handling projects, clients, and organizing things in a far better way than I would have been able to do over the last 3 years of the course. This film really pushed me to contact creatives and basically delve deep into their lives and how they have handled this year. So, because they are creatives, they've obviously handled this year very differently as compared to other people. So, hearing about their struggles and the way that they are trying to adapt and move into this new digital era was really interesting. Professionally, for me, the film helped me understand the ways of the young creative market and how, in the new world, people like them are going to have a serious impact on how businesses, especially small businesses, are going to work in the new, almost entirely digital market. It also taught me the direction in which the creative and art world is going, and has also taught me how the individual groups in it intend to take on this new era and adapt their work to it accordingly. The links for both the final film and my online portfolio are down here. These are just some images of the three subjects that I used for my film. The first one is Caitlin Griffiths. She is a young maker and creative based in Cardiff and Bristol. The top image is the picture of the art of Tessa, who is a painter and a tattoo artist based in Cardiff. And the third image is an image of Charlotte Fay, who is a designer and a painter essentially of both digital and physical paints based in South Wales. So, in conclusion, doing this module this year has not only helped me improve on my videography skills because of the final submission that I produced, but has also helped me improve my professional work ethic and how to correctly interact with specific clients and specific subjects for the stories that I want to shoot. One of the biggest things that I learned through doing this module was that as a working professional, I seriously need to improve on my time management skills and being able to balance multiple projects or multiple things at the same time. Because that is something that I definitely did struggle with this year, having two or three projects going on at the same time. I did have a tendency to let one or two slide here or there, which did affect my grades. Um, but I am hoping that as I get more integrated into the industry, that is something that I will be able to work on and improve on. I also hope that my learning on how actual news desks work on this module will be a big plus point for me on entering the industry in the future, and will also act as a sort of guide as to how to go about my work, both professional work and personal work, and how to also interact with my bosses and the people who I will be working for in a professional setting. So, yeah, overall, this module has been a big learning experience for me, and I am really happy with the content that I have produced for this, and I hope that I can continue working on my professional practice and employability throughout the years. Thank you.